Well, I'm so glad that you're all here. This is going to be a really fun talk called Cruising Through the Holidays. Even though I'm going to be speaking specifically about just a couple things, I wanted to keep it a surprise, you know. And these are things that you can do for yourself, for family members. It'll make it fun and obviously healthy, since that's what I'm all about. And specifically, so since you're here, we're going to be talking about diversionary stones and how to get the elementals and the crystals working for us. And we're also going to be talking about kava shooters for the holidays. And I've brought pumpkin spice and lemon coconut shots for us. So they are healthy, dairy-free, vegan, gluten-free, and you can decide if you want her to have one or not. And well, you know, kava has a very earthy taste, so for kids' taste buds that may or may not work, you know. So we can put a little sip in and see if you want to taste it or taste mama's. And so it's going to be super, super, super fun. I'm Beth Carpenter. I think everybody knows me, but I'll still go ahead and say it. I'm a local naturopath and medical intuitive. I do a lot of health, wellness, and spiritual coaching. It truly, truly excites me to see people get healthy and well and lighten up and connect with their higher self. And so that's how I guide everybody through your angels and your personal sponsors for this embodiment to assist you in that. And our beautiful planet Earth is always here to serve us. And so what better way than through crystals and through herbs. And here we are in the beautiful herb bar here in Austin, Texas. We all know that crystals each serve like different purposes, you know, because you can go through here, okay, we got protection, oh, and what have we got here? We've got healing energy. All these stones really do assist us. And what a lot of people don't know is there are actually little crystal elementals inside the crystals that all they need is a little bit of instruction, and then they are happy to work for us at a level which we never, ever, ever would have thought possible before. Many people are aware it's important to cleanse stones and crystals on a regular basis, and that's true. And most people just set them in the sun or set them in some salt water in the sun, and that is an important component of it. But what we're going to learn is a little bit better cleaning, okay, and then to instruct them. I knew Twyla had a bunch of stones, but I was thinking all of hers were like this size, and these are actually too small to set up as diversionary stones. Okay, so I actually, and then I came and I found she has a bunch on larger sizes. So I actually brought one from my house because it's good to have them about golf ball size. And I know some of these are actually a little bit smaller. And it doesn't have to be pretty. And it doesn't matter what kind of crystal it is. I will tell you that onyx and obsidian, those are the two that actually work the best in setting up diversionary stones, period. But you can still use anything like this. Like, for example, for my husband, we have a quartz crystal for his personal diversionary stone, and then we have an obsidian for his business diversionary stone, because you want to set one up. It's not like for a whole family, but every single person or every single company gets their own stone. A person is like this size, you know, maybe this size. These are actually a little small, but I pulled them out anyhow. If you're dealing with a company, the stones will actually be larger. Of course, if we've got a nation, we may need a monolith to do that work. we do have a beautiful monolith out here in the hill country with Enchanted Rock. If nobody's gone out there, please do. So what you do with these, pick out your crystal. Okay, and I was going to bring some obsidian, but my obsidian's really big. Years ago, I was going down to Mexico to speak at a spa, and the mountains had obsidian in them. And myself and another woman who was speaking, we went and dug a whole bunch of obsidian out of the mountain, loaded up our suitcases, and brought it back. And it was so funny because it was really heavy. So when we got stateside, and I see it on the conveyor belt. I see this man next to me. Excuse me, could you grab my bag? And he went to, you know, thinking it would be light and easy. And he goes, what do you got, rocks in here? And I went,
yeah.
Yes. So I've given many of those obsidian stones away, but I specifically kept some, and right now they're working. So I didn't want to bring them in here. So what you do is you pick out your crystal, and just gravel rocks don't work. So you need, all of these qualify as crystals, just to let you know. And I pulled samples from her different spots around here to let you know. But you take it, and you're gonna rub your hands over it. If it's a longer one, you can rub it like this. Let me see if there's a longer one. Oh, I can actually, this will work well. Let me stick this back over here. Is you take it and you can rub it like this. Okay, and what you do is you say, disintegrate and dissolve all diseased and negative energy now. Disintegrate and dissolve all diseased and negative energy now. Disintegrate and dissolve all disease and negative energy now. And I will be handing out the complete instructions so you can stay focused if you desire, or you can make notes as well. Once you have instructed it to release the diseased and negative energy, because you don't know through the eons of time who's walked past these stones, these crystals, stepped on them, mined them, drove them, delivered them, set them up. I mean, think of all the people, all the components that helped to bring this to you. And then once you do that, actually do put some salt and some water in a bowl and place them in the sun. 3 hours, I usually set them and get them the next day. Then I know I have a lot of trees on my property, and so I know I will have sufficient sun time. Now that's just the cleansing. That's not the instructing. Do you know what you do to instruct a diversionary stone? You have to get real lovey-dovey. Okay, because these elementals, they're working for us. And what you do is you hold this crystal and you get gushy on it. You beautiful elemental crystal, thank you, thank you, thank you for serving this planet, and thank you for serving me. I love you, I love you, I love you. Now that's the gushy part. That's not the instructionary part. Did you know that? No? You'll have fun doing this with your mom, okay? Then what you do is you place the crystal in your hand and you tap it. Crystal, you will absorb all psychic attacks directed towards me immediately. Crystal, you will absorb all psychic contamination before it reaches my auric field. It really is that simple. And then you place this. It does not go in the kitchen. It does not go in the living room, and it does not go in the dining room. Bedroom, bathroom, outside, you can bury it in the ground. You can even just keep it in salt water in the backyard and then change the water, you know, every week or so. And about once a month or every 30, 60 days, you cleanse it again and re-instruct it, because it's going to absorb way more contamination than you ever thought was even hitting you. Like, I have a pretty smooth life. I have a really good life. I get to do lots of awesome things. And when I set up my diversionary stone, all of a sudden I went, wow. All this weight lifted off of me. Because there's stuff coming at you from people you don't even know. And there's stuff coming from yourself at yourself. So this stops you from psychically attacking yourself. And so what happens is when the energy approaches you, before it hits, and of course it's further out, but before it hits your auric field, it goes to wherever this crystal is. And that's why you want to cleanse it. And you will feel the difference, because if you check the energy of a crystal, do the instructions on cleansing before instructing it to absorb for you on your behalf, and check the energy, it'll probably be more out here. And then once you instruct it, it will get larger energetically. That is the really, really cool part about it. And to tell you how miraculously this works, and it's mega simple. To me, I'd make this a Christmas gift. Here is your instructions, baby sister. Go do this. This is my gift to you. I love you. Okay? Is a family of mine that I've worked with. I've worked with everybody in the family for probably 15 years, and they have had massive, massive, massive struggles. They first came to me when the daughter's fiance had been murdered, and I've helped them through a gazillion things, and actually a handful of the members are bipolar, so they hit some real radical highs and lows. And there were some challenges between the parents with their son. He just didn't want to talk to mom and dad, and you know, they were all having their emotional challenges. And I had her set up diversionary stones for she and her husband. I said, if you want to set them up for the kids, you can, but set them up. And as soon as she did, in less than 48 hours, first of all, her daughter, who calls her almost every day screaming about how horrible her life is, how horrible her job is, and she should just kill herself, called her up, and they had an hour conversation of how beautiful the world was and how much she loved her mother. She hadn't heard that in a long time. She thought she'd lost her daughter as being a mother-daughter relationship. Then 3 days after that, her son called and said, Mom, what does Dad want for Christmas? Knowing this family, that has never, ever, 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 ever happened. I just wish for Dad to be happy. That has never, ever, ever, ever come out of his mouth. And that was 2 diversionary stones. One for Mom and one for Dad. That was it. So when you're cleansing stones, you can put everybody's stones in 1 bowl of salt water. Once they're instructed, you don't keep them in the same bowl. You can put them in the same general area. And what I would say is I actually don't tell anybody where I have my diversionary stones placed. They're really personal. They're between you. You and your God and the little elementals you're working with.
That brings me to a question. Does each person need to put their own stone?
You can
Cleansing and instructing?
You can do a diversionary stone for anybody.
Oh, that's good.
No.
Yes.
I have a couple of questions. I can wait if you want.
No, go ahead and ask them.
I can imagine, but I'm not really sure what you mean by diversionary.
Meaning the psychic attacks are diverted away from you and go in here.
Okay. Okay. Do we need to instruct it every day? Or
No,
once
every 30 to 60 days you will cleanse it and re-instruct it. Because can you imagine if it keeps absorbing all of this on your behalf? There is a spot over there. Do you wish to?
I'm sorry to interrupt.
Okay. you can imagine how heavy and how much the contamination would be. So its absorbability factor would decrease because it's like, I'm full, you know, and you don't give enzymes to crystals, okay? So you go through again. Disintegrate and dissolve all diseased and negative energy now. Dissolve and disintegrate all diseased and negative energy now. Sometimes it's a tongue twister. Dissolve and disintegrate all diseased and negative energy now.
Matter which way you do your hands?
Not at all. You can go like this. Like I have in my backyard. First of all, I cleanse all of my stones. And the first time I realized I was cleansing at this level, and they're not all being instructed to be diversionary stones, I went, oh my God, do I have a lot of crystals? I started, and I was finding crystals, oh yeah, there's crystals there, oh yeah. Well, I have created in my backyard a heartburn, and it was originally done just with rocks in my yard, because certain parts of the city, your yard grows rocks, you know. And all of it's being converted to rose quartz. I'll answer your question in just a second. Is being converted to rose quartz and adventurine. Well, the center stone on this rose berm is 65 plus pounds. I cannot pick it up and do this, but I can rub my hands on it. Okay. And you had a question, I know. What was it?
What if there's coyotes in your yard and you're cleansing it outside?
They won't hurt it at all. Yeah, they can even pee on it and it won't hurt it. Okay? That's a good question. And they won't eat it. It'll hurt their teeth. So you're good to go there. So these are really, really fun to do. They're wonderful. I would set them up. If you're going home for the holidays, it's like set one up for yourself. But maybe if there's somebody in your family that you know, oh God, we're gonna bump heads, you know, here she comes, big chip, bong, bong, bong. Set one up for her or him or whoever, or one for your parent. Or remember, individual person. Do that. If you're going to set one up for a company, if you have a company, it needs to be bigger than this, okay? You want to think more like this size. Not working for a company, but have your own business. Like for instance, let's say National Instruments is a huge electronics engineer type place. They probably need one about this big, okay? And if you're doing it for a country, that's where I said you need a monolith. You don't.
I have a business, but it's really busy around right now.
Oh, okay.
It's crazy, so like that would be really good.
It actually, just to let you know, it increases business and allows for business to go more smoothly.
Okay.
Okay. And, you know, if you also want to pick a crystal based on additional meanings, I mean, Twyla's real good on making sure you guys have quick notes, fast notes on what stones are. But the Crystal Bible, and I know she has copies here because I intentionally took it off her shelf, has information on crystals. But specifically for the diversionary stones, the obsidian, the onyx. I also like labradorite a lot because it has a really extra like psychic protection on there. And so now this particular thing on diversionary stones comes from, here, if y'all each take a Grand Master Foakaksui, who headed up and organized before his ascension, the Pranic Healing Organization, and Master Stephen Coe is now ahead of that. Well, here, just take one and pass it. I can't seem to get it separated. So I have that information, and this is specifically in a class that they teach through the Pranic Healing on psychic self-defense. So it works super, super well. I'd say please, please, please get yourself a stone today and do it. You'll see in here I put blanks because if you're on this part here, because this is the instruction portion. So if you're setting it up, let's say for Maria, you would say, okay, as you're tapping it, you will immediately absorb all psychic attacks directed towards Maria Morales. Okay, and then in this one, in contact with Maria Morales's auric field. You can write auric field there if that will help you to remember. You can put energy fields if that seems to register more easily with your mind. This is just like one of the greatest gifts. I think we need to, you know, find this giant obsidian and instruct it for Washington, D.C. Wouldn't that be so awesome, you know? I don't care if they're Republican or Democrat. I want everybody talking and being nice to each other and not doing dirty deeds behind everybody's back. You know, we'd have a much smoother running country. Here's the thing, and this is why this is so important. We get frustrated at people who own giant companies. We get frustrated at our government and other countries' governments because of the constant conflict. Well, how in the heck can anybody get past conflict when they've got conflict inside of them? How can we expect them to do something we're not doing ourselves? So if we do it for ourselves, how much will that spread and bleed into our community that more and more people are finding peace? And that's what I'm about. Peace on planet Earth. Now. Thank you, God. Right? So what I'm doing is my part. And I say my prayers and decrees and blessings that each of you do your part as well. Because any time we get ourselves contaminated with another person's thoughts or our thoughts, our energy field gets weaker. You can do muscle testing, also known as kinesiology. That's the formal name of it. And you can have somebody stick their hand out. And if they have an angry, negative, sad, doubtful thought, kaboom, that arm will come down. And I don't care if the person's the size of Magic Johnson. That arm will come down. But if they're thinking happy and loving thoughts, there is nothing that can move that arm. You can grab that arm with both arms, lift your legs up, and hang, and the arm won't move. Isn't that fun? Even if you're a little bitty one. So, with this beautiful, fun diversionary crystals, I love them so much. Do we have any questions? Because this talk has 2 parts. Yes?
I never heard the word auric field before.
A-U-R-I-C. Auric.
Oh, like aura.
Uh-huh.
So you're talking about somebody's aura.
Right. This isn't a talk on auras, but there's actually 3 different auric fields.
Okay. You know how you said about, are you going to see people for the holidays?
Mm-hmm.
If you're going out of town, if you're going out of town, you're going to stay there, like, do you take your little crystal with you? Okay, so you can do it at home for somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
And you can change up who you're doing it for on that particular crystal at different times.
What you can do, and this is, because some people have done this with diversionary stones, is you can get your diversionary stone, and this is if you're going to bury it or throw it in a body of water, and take a picture of it so you have an actual photo of it. Because some people have taken their crystals onto cruise ships and then choom, off into the ocean. Well, because it has to be periodically re-instructed, obviously it's in a body of salt water, so we're good, but it doesn't get the sun. You take the photo out of the crystal and you do the same thing. Crystal, and you just kind of rub the photo, disintegrate and dissolve, then love on it, and then instruct it.
Or just maybe just meditate on that.
Some people don't have that good a focus. That's why, I mean, you can print a photo. It doesn't even have to be on photo paper from your printer, and it makes it easier. That's what I found. That's why I print out the instructions. This is mega, mega simple, but people go, what was I supposed to do? I got the kissing part of the stone, but that's about it, you know, or putting it in the sun. And so this makes it easy. And then after a while, you know, like if you meditate with some of the things that I do, I can get laser focus. But I didn't do that when I started all this. I'd get the focus and then go somewhere else, you know, and then come back. So do what works for you on that. Questions? Yes, hands up.
Doesn't matter if it's salt, like sea salt rather than the salt that has the iodine in it?
Actually, it doesn't. Do I use a specific kind of salt? Yes, I actually use Dead Sea salt. But you can go to the grocery store, get a 3-pound box of kosher salt that has not been ionized and there's no anti-caking agent in it for like $3 or $3.99. It's usually on the bottom shelf, kind of tucked away, but it works really, really great for this as well. So you don't have to, I know some people buy bags of salt that goes in the water softeners at Home Depot because you can get a giant bag for real cheap. Yes?
Do you have to keep it in salt water or bury it, or can you just keep it like just out in the
Yep.
Oh, and tell her about the which rooms. I don't think you were here for that.
no, it was yeah.
Oh, good.
I have it on the handout. Yeah, yeah, I have it on the handout.
Can you reuse the same salt to cleanse it again?
No.
Okay, well.
I actually pour the water down the toilet and flush the toilet. You know.
Need to be under the water?
Yeah, I make sure that water comes over the top of it.
Okay.
Yeah, like with when I cleanse my big crystals, which I'm actually not, I don't instruct like that 65-pound one. I actually take a big bowl of salt water and pour it over my berm and tell it to dissolve and disintegrate, you know, the diseased and negative energy. And it's in a place where it gets some good sunlight. So you have to work with what you got based on size. Yeah. One more question, because we have a second part that's really fun. So.
You have 2 instructions you're telling the crystal on here.
No, 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 no. 1, pick out your crystal. 2, rub the crystal saying dissolve and disintegrate. This is part of the cleansing. This is part of the cleansing, because then you're placing it in salt water. Once it's cleansed, then you're instructing it. This is instruction for cleansing. This is instruction for absorbing.
Oh, okay, great.
Yeah. And you can make notes, and then it says what to do after you've instructed, how frequently to redo it, and where this information came from, so that if you wish to do further research, it's basically the same thing, only in more pages, you know. But I always like for people to know, you know, where it actually comes from. And I've used crystals for years and years and years. I love them. I have kept them clean, and I love adding this extra component of cleansing them more thoroughly through the instruction, and then instructing only the ones that I'm choosing. Like you'll have 2, one for yourself and one for your business. You'll have 1. You can have one for your doggy or your cat. You know, so you can do any of that. If you decide to keep it in salt water in the sun, you cannot put other family members or friends' stones in the same bowl. Only in the initial cleansing, but not once they've been instructed. Yeah. Yeah. So I'm going to move on to the second part. Is everyone good on that? Yay. All right.